One of the worst feelings in the world is getting that little notification that your concert is canned and your money is being refunded. But sometimes those concerts are canned for very good reasons. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are the top 10 celebrity concerts cancelled by controversy. Number 10, 1975. British band The 1975 have been ordered to pay $2.3 million in damages over their recent set at Malaysian music festival Good Vibes. The 1975's now infamous performance in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, on the 21st of July was cut short after Matt Healy criticized the country's anti-LGBTQ+ laws on stage and kissed his bassist Ross McDonald. Malaysia's Ministry of Communications and Digital subsequently cancelled the remaining 2 days of the festival. Earlier this week, the festival organizers, Future Sound Asia, or FSA, outlined its plan to seek financial damages from the 1975, although the $2.3 million figure was not disclosed at that time. A large component of FSA's letter of claim is attributed towards frontman Matt Healy's breach of contract. Apparently, Healy's representative categorically provided a pre-show written assurance that he and the 1975's live performances would adhere to all local guidelines and regulations during their set in Malaysia. And Malaysia do not condone public acts of love between two people of the same gender. Not only did Matty go against what the leaders of the country stood for, but according to members of the Malaysian LGBTQ+ community, they all agree that this political statement has only made things worse for everybody. Number 9, Colleen Ballinger. Allegations surrounding Ballinger's behavior with her fans first began in 2020 when YouTuber Adam McIntyre made a video claiming that the comedian had a personal relationship with him when he was just in his teens and she was in her 30s. He added that he would help her social media and he would be frequently put in uncomfortable situations, specifically noting that at one point Ballinger sent him lingerie as a joke. At the time, Ballinger denied some of these allegations in a video, but the allegations resurfaced in 2023 when another YouTuber, Cody Rants, who defended Ballinger against McIntyre in 2020, alleged that Ballinger had privately shared screenshots of messages with McIntyre in a fan group chat. She also showed screenshots in her now deleted video in which Ballinger asked the group of fans their favorite position, among other inappropriate questions. In response, Ballinger uploaded an unusual 10-minute video to YouTube, choosing to address the allegations through a ukulele song. Needless to say, that's not how you're supposed to do that. So not only did people agree that she was definitely a groomer, but more and more information began to surface, and not only were all of her live shows cancelled, but she has also been cancelled entirely. Number 8, Lizzo. Thanks to some recent controversy in Lizzo's life, a series of performances have been cancelled, including one major concert, the Made in America Festival. At press time, when asked for further comment on what precipitated the cancellation of the event that was slated to take place on September 2nd and 3rd at Benjamin Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia, a spokesperson for promoter Live Nation pointed to the statement and they didn't provide any additional info. Though the statement did not cite any specific details about what caused the cancellation, the news came just days after Lizzo responded to a lawsuit from 3 of her former dancers, who alleged that the Truth Hurts rapper harassed her employees and created a hostile work environment. In a written statement in response to the suit, the Grammy winner insisted the claims were false allegations and sensational stories. There is almost no way that this is a coincidental cancellation, as not only was Lizzo set to be an act, but she was supposed to be the big act of the festival. Can't put someone on stage who likes bananas that much, I guess. Number 7, Tory Lanez. A Los Angeles jury found rapper Tory Lanez guilty of 3 felonies in the 2020 Pew Pew incident of hip-hop star Megan Thee Stallion that left her wounded with little fragments in her feet. Was arrested and charged with several felony counts in October 2020 following a public incident where he fired off a personal Pew Pew device. Weeks after his arrest, Megan Thee Stallion, whose real name is Megan Pete, went on Instagram Live to say that Lanez had aimed at her and caused significant damage. Despite denying these claims, the evidence was there. In October 2022, Lanez was ordered under house arrest and electronic monitoring, with Deputy District Attorney Alexander Bott arguing at the time that Lanez posed a danger to society and previously defied court orders to not come within 100 yards of Megan. This of course meant any and all concerts that he had lined up were immediately cancelled, and while he has been on people's radar for a long time, the actual trial has been pushed back over and over again. But so far, it's not looking good. Number 6, Travis Scott. In case you've forgotten, Travis was responsible for one of the worst concert tragedies in recent history. During his Astroworld event in Houston, 8 people passed away from accidental suffocation after a crowd surge took place. The entire audience rushed the stage, and the large outdoor event became a small outdoor oven. 2 more people passed away a few days later in hospital. He was facing a massive slew of charges following the event, but that did not stop stop him from trying to show up at another concert. In fact, he had already been booked to headline Coachella in 2022, but they had to let him go and replaced him following the massive amount of hate online. Not only was his Coachella concert canceled, but a few months before, he was supposed to co-headline a festival called Day in Vegas with SZA and J. Cole, a show that was also canceled thanks to the Astroworld tragedy. He has since returned to the stage, appearing at small venues and eventually performing at the 2022 Billboard Music Awards. Number 5. Nicki Minaj. Rapper Nicki Minaj is a superstar and certainly not one to shy away from how she feels. In 2019, she pulled out of a concert in Saudi Arabia to show support for women's rights, LGBTQ rights, and the freedom of expression. Minaj was due to headline the July 18th festival, billed as one of the biggest music events ever staged in the Middle East. The event took place at the King Abdullah Sports Stadium in Jeddah, with other scheduled performers, including former One Direction member Liam Payne and Steve Aoki. The Human Rights Foundation, in a letter, called on Minaj to call off her performance. The advocacy group cited Saudi Arabia's imprisonment and execution of, LGBTQ people, oppression of women, etc., all that fun stuff. Well, for one of the few times in human history, Minaj actually listened to the complaints. Not only was she receiving DMs left and right, but her moral views were being put into question. She came to her senses and pulled out of the venue. The foundation later released a statement praising Minaj for the decision and thanking her for the inspiration that it was surely going to bring. Number 4. Justin Bieber. Bieber postponed a slate of US dates on his Justice Tour in June 2022 after suffering from Ramsay Hunt syndrome, which partially paralyzed his face. The Ghost singer wasn't able to reschedule his summer run of US shows. Before canceling his shows, he had performed at a concert in Brazil when a sudden wave of exhaustion overtook him. He later released a statement saying, "After resting and consulting with my doctors, family, and team, I went to Europe in an effort to continue with this tour. I performed 6 live shows, but it took a very large toll on me, so I'm going to take a break from touring for the time being. I'm going to be okay." Well, he was right. His health has thankfully gotten better since, with his first return to the stage only being a few short months later. Number 3. Morgan Wallen. After the country singer canceled his second show at the University of Mississippi's Vaught Hemingway Stadium, fans were quick to question the true cause of the situation. Wallen was claiming it was due to a medical situation, but many were quick to point out that at his previous shows he seemed a little bit tipsy. The cancellation of this concert in particular came after the crowd had piled into the gym. Several thousand fans were already inside of that stadium, and some were sharing images from the event on social media as they awaited Wallen. Others said that they had been waiting inside the venue for like 3 or 4 hours for him to appear, only to be greeted by the disappointing message on the stadium screen. The message, of course, informing them that Wallen would not be performing, and the crowd was furious. But hey, this wouldn't be the first time Morgan was facing some kind of backlash. In fact, this recent slew of concerts comes only 2 years after he was caught using the N-word to describe one of his friends after a night out in Nashville. His music was pulled from radio, his record contract was suspended, and he was disqualified from that year's Academy of Country Music Awards. Number 2. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle dominated the comedy scene in the 90s and the early 2000s. His stand-up was considered to be the most gut-busting and entertaining around, and his role in films like The Nutty Professor, Robin Hood Men in Tights, and the cult classic Half Baked cemented him in the comedy world. He took a bit of a break from starring in films to focus on his family and his true passion, stand-up comedy though. Despite being on stage for over 12 years, Dave never really learned how to follow suit with the times. There were certain topics that started becoming rude to joke about. Many jokes considered to be funny in the 80s and 90s haven't aged well, and unfortunately it seems like that's all the material that Dave has. In one of his last Netflix specials, Dave decided it was his time on stage to make fun of the LGBTQ+ community, spewing trashy jokes that are just not worth quoting or repeating. If you're actually curious how bad it was just enough to get Dave's fans to turn on him immediately. A slew of shows were canceled, including a tour for his latest special that will never see the light of day. Maybe next time Dave will keep his rude comments where they belong, in a little journal under his bed. And at number 1, Madonna. Madonna is the original queen of pop. Her tunes have had us moving and grooving since her debut album released in 1983, simply titled Madonna. She is only 64 years old, and the reason that I'm putting her on this list of people who did bad at a concert was unfortunately due to the recent hospitalization she's going through. Madonna was set to begin a world tour until roughly a week ago, when her scheduled performances were suddenly canceled. According to Madonna herself, the hospitalization comes from a battle with a serious bacterial infection. She She was kept over a multi-day period, but has been released back into her home where her family says she's been uncontrollably vomiting, basically being bedridden, but she has since stepped foot back into the world and she seems to be doing better. Apparently she had been suffering from a heavy fever for over a month before this, but had been able to push through. Suddenly that bacteria took hold and she was sent to the ICU. Thankfully she recovered after only a few days and she's back on her feet, but hopefully the concert tour will start up again very soon. Those are the celebrity concerts canceled by controversy. Did we miss any good ones? Let us know in the comments below. As always, drop a like on this video and keep coming back every day for more content. Thanks for stopping beyond the screen. We'll see you next time.